an award-winning daily series from 8:30 to 9 a.m. to help small businesses. If you have any questions, please ask them in the comments of the live feed. And if you need any more advice, join the official Intuit QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook, where there are accountants and business experts on hand 24/7. During the live session today, we will be running a poll, so please do engage with it, and I will reveal the results at the end of the show. So thank you again for everyone joining me today. For those who have never joined me before, my name is Eriona. I'm the Managing Director of Majors Accounts & Co. Ltd, and I'm a qualified Chartered Certified Accountant with the ACCA. And I also have had, my background and education is in the finance field, so I have a master's in accounting and finance as well, but also a master's in law to help give a different perspective in kind of the finance field, but it's law in international banking and finance. And I've recently completed a postgraduate diploma at the University of Oxford, again in strategic finance. I'm also a member of the QuickBooks Accountants Council and a member of ACCA's UK Practitioner Network panel, which really allows me to kind of put forward how practitioners, other accountants in the UK can work better with each other and kind of elevate the industry if possible. And I'm also a panel member of the ACCA SME Global Forum. I've been working in practice for a good few years now, and whilst I was studying, that helped to enhance my work and put the theory into practice, and where you really get to see everything in business. In small practice, you see all areas of how a business runs, how it functions, what its pain points are, investigating ways of improving profitability. If there are areas which need improvement, that's what we're there for as well. And it could be, for businesses that do want to become more profitable, how could we assist them in that by looking at the financial data that the business has? So who are Majors Accounts? We're a small family-run practice based in Southeast London. We have, we kind of help businesses in the SME space. Over the years, we've seen, businesses in all industries. We are creating a niche at the moment in the construction industry, where we work with kind of all areas of the construction industry, whether it's a subcontractor, contractor, professional services such as architects, and so many others within that field. So we've got great experience in that area, but nevertheless, we do also have clients in all other industries, which is online sales, pubs, bars, restaurants, hairdressers, financial services, IT companies, nurseries. I mean, the list really goes on. We've seen pretty much everything over the years. Since becoming managing director, I spearheaded a digitalisation strategy within the business. It was the idea of becoming a paperless office, and QuickBooks Online is our main bookkeeping package, which we use within the office, and then everything else that we use kind of feeds into that, all the other apps. We have made sure that all manual processes have been automated to create that elevated experience, not just for our team, because they're using the latest cutting edge technology, but also for our clients, because they have an ease now of contacting us. They don't need to come down like they did before. They can have a quick Zoom meeting, Teams, whatever it may be, whether they are on site, at their workplace, from home, and kind of get the answers they need really quickly. But apart from that, we now have the ability to give them information in real time, where we didn't have the possibility before because there was a lot of manual work involved. So we've introduced technology to actually bring us a lot closer to our clients and have time to speak to them, even to call and say, hey, how are you doing? And from that conversation, there are so many things that we find out that we can help our clients with, which they weren't aware that we could help out with. So it's been amazing, especially for clients. We've got clients from Ireland all the way down to the Isle of Wight, so they're all over the country and international now as well. So it's great having that reach and being able to service so many clients in different parts of the world, in so many different industries as well. So there is that convenience of time saving there. And it has allowed us to bring our relationship closer with our clients and we are a family-run practice, so we like to treat our team like family and our clients as well, wherever possible. We want them to be comfortable in coming to meet us and letting us know, what they need help with. So we've become the virtual finance director for our clients, but not necessarily with the price tag that comes with that. So during this time, our efforts have not gone unnoticed. Majors Accounts have been nominated for a few awards. One of them was Independent Firm of the Year for Greater London by the British Accountancy Awards. That was for 2 years in a row, and I've been nominated for Top 50 Women in Accounting for the 3rd year in a row now this year as well, and also for the Women in Accounting and Finance Awards 2020. So today I'm going to be talking to you about a really important topic, which hopefully everyone should be talking about, but unfortunately there isn't as much discussion around making tax digital as there should be, because it is coming. The most recent one is coming next month. But let's start off with what is Making Tax Digital. So Making Tax Digital is a HMRC initiative to encourage businesses to keep their accounts up to date and digital. It aims to make tax admin more efficient. So the MTD journey, Making Tax Digital covers VAT, and in the future it will extend to tax for self-assessment and corporation tax as well. The first phase of MTD was for VAT, which went live on the 1st of April 2019 for most VAT registered businesses. Those businesses now have to keep their digital records and submit their summary VAT returns directly to HMRC from their own accounting software or using a bridge software from a suitable spreadsheet. However, up until now, it has been only businesses that are over the VAT threshold of £85,000. But from the 1st of April next month, so literally in a week, everyone registered for VAT must comply with MTD. Until this date, only businesses, as I mentioned, had to register for VAT if they crossed the threshold. Whereas now every business, regardless of their turnover, must sign up to MTD and submit their VAT returns via a compatible software, such as QuickBooks Online, which is what we use as a firm. How do you register for MTD? So you can sign up for MTD on the HMRC website. You will need your business email address, a government gateway, user ID and password. If you do not have a user ID, you can create one when you use the service. It's super easy, it doesn't take long at all. Just make sure you remember your password and user ID, because it will be very important in the future. And your VAT registration number and the latest VAT return. You need those figures to hand with you. However, coming in the future is MTD for income tax. Phase 2 of the MTD journey for income tax is expected to go live on the 1st of April 2024. Now, this has been talked about for quite a while. I think it will be happening, so it leaves 2 years for everyone to get ready. And the annual tax return, which currently self-employed individuals do, which is once a year, will be replaced by 4 quarterly submissions plus a final adjustment submission, which means you will be going from once a year to 5 times a year. Now, that is going to be a huge change in the way that self-employed individuals are working. So if that is you, you're going to really need to put things in place now to ensure, one, you're ready. You won't be subject to penalties, because there will be penalties for those who are not signed up on time. And there's a way of making it a lot easier for you, so you don't feel like you have so much of the admin burden when it comes to it. Now, with this, HMRC are also changing their penalty regime. They have confirmed that their new point-based system penalty regime will come into effect on the 1st of January 2023. So not too long. And it will apply to both Making Tax Digital for VAT as well as MTD for income tax for self-assessment when it comes in. Their stated aim is to make penalties simpler, fair and effective, and it will cover late submission, late payment and interest harmonisation. So for VAT taxpayers, their first VAT return period starting on or after the 1st of January 2023 will be applicable to the new regime. And for income taxpayers, it will be for the first accounting period or tax year starting on or after the 6th of April 23. So there'll be penalties for both late payment, which will be proportionate to the length of time it takes to pay, which could arise 2 different penalties at the same time for late payment, and also for late submission. So the new points-based system is designed to be more lenient to those who make occasional slip-ups, while still penalising those who are deliberately avoiding their obligations. So when a taxpayer misses a submission deadline, they will incur a point. Once a penalty threshold has been reached, a fixed penalty amount of £200 will be issued for every missed submission until a period of compliance allows the points tally to be reset to nil. Now, for the VAT element, it will be a different timeline. It will be different for income tax. So it will be slightly kind of more involved, but just make sure you submit everything in time. You don't want to be caught out by this penalty system and be put under observation for a period of up to 2 years even. So I see we have questions coming in already, and I'll start taking these now. We have a question from Alana on Instagram, who says the government has just launched a host scheme to provide Ukrainian refugees with rooms in people's homes. Will the £350 thank you payment be taxed? Now, I have seen this. I haven't seen too much about whether it will be taxed, but I don't imagine it will be. That is something that if you'd like to follow up with me after the show, I can definitely help. But it's only £350, and as you've mentioned, it is a thank you. So I don't see how this will be taxed. And currently there is obviously the rent a room allowance, which could kind of go towards that, and that's £7,500 for the year. So if you receive £350 from the government, that's not really income that's going to go anywhere near that threshold. So whatever happens, you'll be covered by the rent a room allowance anyway. We have a question from Cliff on Twitter DMs, who says, regarding MTD, once the form is submitted to HMRC via Quickbooks, do I still pay HMRC direct from my online bank? Yes, so payment doesn't change. You can obviously make payment directly from your bank or sign up with direct debit. If you can, I would definitely sign up with direct debit. It does give you sometimes a couple of days leeway, so you end up paying a couple of days later than somebody who needs to pay by the 7th, just because that's how the direct debit schedule is, and it allows you a couple of days extra to make that VAT money, which for some businesses a few days is a massive difference, whereas if they don't have it by the 7th, for example, they might not be missing that much money. But if they don't pay the whole amount, then there could be penalties. But for MTD, in terms of submissions, that's all that MTD kind of covers. It's ensuring that you are submitting your VAT returns using a compatible software and ensuring there are digital links in place. We use QuickBooks Online for all of our clients, so all of the bookkeeping is done on there. Once it's all been finalized, within QuickBooks, we click submit. We are able to see that it's been accepted by HMRC. And in the future, if there are any investigations or anything like that, then you're able to pull up the reports that are required for HMRC. There have been instances in investigations where HMRC have said, well, just make me a user and I'll go in and check what I need to check myself. That kind of breaches GDPR. So if you don't feel comfortable with that, don't go ahead and do that. We do not give that access. We let them know, what do you need? We'll send you all the reports. But at least you have that option there and the ease of submitting from within the software that you're actually preparing everything. You don't need to go out into another software or into HMRC website and key in the figures. Again, it goes straight through there. We have a question from Yusuf on Instagram DMs, who says, I receive most of my income from overseas, which is not subject to VAT. What do I do about that? Well, there are so many things to that. It depends. If you're self-employed, you need to ensure that you are declaring that income on your tax return. Whether you receive income from abroad or not, you will still fall under the MTD regime. Obviously, unless you're a company, that's going to come a little bit later, but it will get there as well. But if you are self-employed, you will need to submit all of that through a compatible software. As I mentioned, we use QuickBooks Online. We really prefer the Plus license because it gives you so many reports and kind of ease of working. But not just MTD, it has other benefits to actually running your business. With my clients, I encourage them, to raise your invoices in there. You can actually see when your client has opened the invoice, seen it, and if you call them and say, where is payment, and they'll say, oh, sorry, I haven't seen it yet, you're actually able to say, well, yes, you have. I saw you opened it on this date at this time. So you have greater control over your information at the same time as being obviously compliant with the new legislation. But regardless of where your income comes from, if you're VAT registered, you still have to submit. If you're not VAT registered, you won't need to submit now, but it will be coming in the next 2 years. So the sooner you start getting used to working in a set way, the easier it will be for you, and you're ensuring you don't get caught out by the penalties when it does become legislation. We have a question from Natalie on Facebook Messenger, who says, I hired an accountant last year just to get me sorted, but didn't have the money to work with them all year round. At what point do you think it's worth developing a longer term relationship with an accountant versus just hiring one when I need them? So I understand that it's a cost for a business, right, having an accountant. But personally, I see it as an investment, just because an accountant, if you're working with them closely, can give you that real-time information that you need to see your business from a bird's eye view and make better decisions from the information that you have. I've had so many clients before where they've wanted to keep a year-long relationship, and they've come to us, and there are so many things that we've seen that we could have helped them out with during the year. It could be, one, they weren't aware that actually some of their revenue streams were not making them money. They were actually losing, so it would have been better for them to stop certain revenue streams and focus on those that were making them more profit, or possibly look at those revenue streams and see, why are they not working? Could it be because you're not working in an organized way? Could you change some operations to make that profitable too? But at least we highlighted that to them at the end of the year. But at that point, it's already been a year. How much use is it going to be to say this is what happened in the past? So there are so many other things. I mean, another example is a client had a lot of money sitting in their business bank account, and they said, I didn't know what to do with it. There are so many areas we could have said, well, there are opportunities for you to invest in this or that, or how can you extract that money in a tax efficient way to possibly invest in another business or start another business. So I do think that it's more of an investment than a cost, just because of the difference it could make to you. And apart from that, also knowing how much tax are you looking to pay. You don't have to wait until the end of the year to then start thinking, I need to start collating money for tax. Have I got enough? Am I going to miss the tax deadline? So with how we work with our clients, because they give us information in real time, we're able to give them an idea whenever they want it of how much tax am I looking to pay at the end of the year, roughly based on how much I've been earning so far. That then allows them to make the decisions to say, right, I need to set this much money aside. The rest I can put into my business, reinvest, or take out because I want to do something personally with the money. Maybe I want to buy a house. There are so many things that allows you to plan a bit better and make those decisions, which could have great financial kind of results in the future. So that will only come from being able to work with them regularly and having your information in real time. I have a question from Tracy on Twitter, who says, I already use QuickBooks for my bookkeeping and then submit it on the HMRC website. Once I sign up for MTD with HMRC, do I just put in the login info? So you will need to sign up for an MTD account separately from the one that you have. And once you're signed up, you put in the login info in your QuickBooks account. And then from there on in, all you do literally is click submit within QuickBooks and you're done. You don't need to go out and copy the figures in and put it on the HMRC website separately. So if you haven't done that already, I mean, I definitely would. I'm guessing you're not VAT registered, maybe you're just self-employed, but you are able to go into the pilot scheme essentially and do this. But definitely or if you are VAT registered, for example, but you're under the threshold, this is something you're going to need to do by the 1st of April. So please make sure that you go into the Gov website, create that MTD ID, and then connect that to your QuickBooks account. From there on in, it'll be super simple. I have a question from Archie on Instagram who says, I'm a sole trader but not a VAT registered company. Do I still need MTD? Currently, no. So the current MTD requirements are for those who are VAT registered, and whether you're a company or self-employed, and from the 1st of April, it will be for anyone who's VAT registered, regardless of what their turnover is. However, as a sole trader, it will come for you on the 1st of April 2024. So if you're able to start putting processes in place in the software that you're using now, because you need to be using compatible software when you sign up for MTD, it can't be, let's say, how you've been working in the past. Although there is bridging software for spreadsheets and things like that, you need to consider, is there really kind of a benefit to continuing with spreadsheets when you're going to have to start submitting through a digital software anyway? And then with the digital software, you have so many other benefits to finding out what kind of information on your business and how your business is doing. We have a question from Clara on Twitter who says, I'm looking to go to a limited company but don't want to list my home on Companies House. Is there an alternative to this? Yeah, this is a huge issue, to be honest. Ever since Companies House changed their kind of open, being transparent and so on, and making sure that anyone can find out that the people behind a company are actually real people and where their addresses are and things like that. I have many clients who, again, don't want the same thing. They don't want to be looked up on Google and for anyone to find out where they live, because there is an element of privacy to it, right? There are a few options. So for us, we actually have a lot of our clients' addresses at our office as their registered office address. It's definitely something that you can do. One of the benefits is any kind of paperwork that comes in, most of the time it's from HMRC, so we're able to deal with it straight away, so we don't need to wait for the clients to send us their correspondence from HMRC. But also it ensures that they don't have their address out there, and we forward everything on to them or upload it to an online portal so they're able to access whatever they need that they've got post from from anyone to our office online. The other thing is, which I have some clients as well that do, is they pay for a PO box type address. Again, they offer similar services to what we're doing. Any post that goes there, it gets scanned and destroyed or shredded, for example, so there is no breach of GDPR or information being able to get out, and it is sent to you directly. Some of these, depending on how much you pay for them, they can also add in a phone number and answer on your behalf and then forward it to your mobile as well. But there are so many different services. But yes, there are other addresses that you can put on Companies House if you're not comfortable for your address to be on HMRC, on Companies House. We have a question from Alex on Facebook Messenger who says, I've recently taken on a job as self-employed salesman on commission only. Do I need to get VAT registered when I hit the 85,000 threshold? As I'm charging the company for my time and not physical product, I'm not sure on the rules on this. So becoming VAT registered, regardless of what your trade is, whether you're selling a product, a service, whatever it may be, if you reach that 85,000 threshold, then you must register for VAT. And there are certain rules around it. If you also have to register, even if you haven't crossed it yet, but you take on, let's say, a project, or that within the next month you're going to actually go over that threshold, then you should register from the moment you realize that you will go over, even if you haven't crossed it yet. This really applies to a lot of companies that take on projects where they may have never been VAT registered, but they get one big project which will throw them, over the VAT threshold pretty quickly, although they may not actually get the money straight up front, but they do need to register because the contract says that, the value will be over £85,000, so you need to register from the date you sign the contract. But in your case, if you feel like you are going to be crossing the threshold, you will need to become VAT registered, regardless of the fact that you are selling a service at the end of the day. And then once you're VAT registered, you will also need to ensure that you sign up to NTD pretty quickly. But you will have some leeway because it takes up to 4 weeks to become VAT registered, for your VAT number to come through. And then it will take some time for them to send you your certificate, which says which quarters you need to be submitting your returns for. Some people need to submit their first VAT return for, let's say, a 4-month period, some for just a 1-month period. It just depends on the first submission that you make, and from there on in, generally it will be quarterly, although there are annual schemes as well, but I wouldn't recommend it because you're leaving a big liability to be paid all up front in one go. I think it's a lot easier if you know what you're doing and you know how much you need to be paying quarterly, so you can manage and budget for it. Okay, we have a question from Karina on Twitter, who says, how can I check the settings within QuickBooks regarding MTD authority? I can't connect to HMRC. So there are some instances where that happens. The QuickBooks support team are the best people to contact regarding this. That's what we do every time we have an issue like this. It's usually just a technical mishap, so you should be able to sort that out. If QuickBooks support team can't, then it could also be a HMRC issue. So you may end up need to, calling both parties. We've had that in the past where on QuickBooks side it was fine, but actually there was an issue in HMRC not connecting correctly or not being allocated to the right account. So they had to fix it with online services on their side before we could connect to QuickBooks as well. So start off with QuickBooks, and if that is all fine, then contact HMRC. That's how we have gone through it every time. We have a question from Jake on Instagram DMs, who says, I'm new to contracting and have been offered a contract with small businesses which doesn't have IR35 responsibilities. How do I confirm it's outside IR35? So with IR35, there is a procedure that needs to take place between you and the other business to make sure it's on the Gov website, but it basically sets out step by step where you have to confirm, have you checked one thing after another. Once you've checked everything, then you can say, we reasonably believe that we do not fall under IR35, and you need to keep that with you, because if in the future HMRC come back to you and say, well, how did you come to this arrangement? What was the thinking behind you thinking that you don't fall under IR35? You're able to say, well, I used your own paperwork or list to ensure that I don't fall under it. If not, you can confirm with an accountant or even a lawyer to double check, because there are so many things to IR35. It's really important to make sure that there isn't a clause that you will get caught out by. So I think definitely with the help of an accountant or a lawyer, they can ensure that you don't fall under the IR35 rules, or they can help you with filling out those forms step by step to make sure that you're doing it correctly. And then you have that kind of, where if you did get investigated, you say, well, I did employ a professional and this is what they came up with. So if there are any potential penalties, that could be argued to say, I did as best I could and I used all the relevant material. This is how it came out. You've got a different point of view, but I don't think I should be penalised for that. So just document everything that you decide between you and the other business as well. Unfortunately, I don't have too much time left for any more questions. The poll results are in. We asked you, are you already set up for Making Tax Digital? 70% of you said yes, 10% of you said no, and 20% answered working on it. So that's pretty encouraging, that there's only 10% who've said no. You've still got a week. It's not too difficult to set up. Please make sure that it is set up, and from that moment, speak to your accountant, work with them closely. There's not going to be too much of a change in how you work currently, because if you're already submitting VATs quarterly, it's the same kind of thing. It just depends what you're using currently and how you're submitting. If you're already on a digital software, no change apart from you're connecting to HMRC and submissions go through the MTD kind of pathway. For anyone who's not using compatible software, you really need to be getting on that as soon as possible. We help all of our clients with that. I mean, we've put all of our clients on digital software regardless whether they're a company, self-employed, VAT registered or not. So they're all ready, but we are very aware of how long the process can take, and it can be difficult if you do it yourself. So if you can get the help from an accountant or a professional who's used to this, then please do, just to make sure that you're on board and ready to go. So thank you all for tuning in this morning. If you want to get in touch, please contact me via the Majors Accounts website. You can contact me with my email, eriona@majorsaccounts.com, or on our website we also have a news section which you can go into and have a look at all the latest information that's coming out from the government, especially since yesterday with the spring statement coming out. So you'll find some really useful tips and points on there. We are also available on all social media platforms. We're on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and on Twitter. And we also have our app, which you can download for free from our website, which is packed full of tax calculators and the latest information that comes out. So feel free to go to our website and download that. Now, coming up on Ask the Expert on Monday is QuickBooks Pro Advisor and Head of Accounts at Bofix, Aaron Patrick. Tune in to get the latest business news and bookkeeping hacks. A reminder, if you need any more advice, please do join the official Intuit QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook, where there are accountants and business experts on hand 24/7. I've really enjoyed answering your questions this morning, and I hope you all have a great day.